Hi,
Hi,
this is Katie Proctor, the owner of Books with Pictures here in Portland, Oregon.
and this is writer Douglas Wolk.
And there's some comics that came out this week that we're super excited about.
So this is Female Furies 2, and we feel particularly
Warm about this series.
warm about this series, which started last month. This is
Cecil Castellucci is writing it, Adriana Mello is drawing it, and Hi-Fi is doing the colors. It's special.
it is so we last saw Big Barda over in the land of Tom King's Mr. Miracle, but this is a story that takes place before that in her youth, where she is on a team called the Female Furies, being run by Granny Goodness, who, as we all know, is the worst.
Awful.
The worst. And what we have here is a world where Granny Goodness is training a crack team of female assassins and general baddies. And in addition to being caught up in the standard court politics, they are subject to the trials of being women in a shitty patriarchal system. What I love in particular about the first issue really focuses on the way that the men in their world are awful to them. Issue 2 is about the ways that women are also tools of this sort of system. So this is about the women being awful to each other. It's so good.
It really sinks its claws in. There's a lot of stuff that is about the way that sexual harassment is tolerated and perpetuated and becomes ingrained in culture. It's super scary, and it's almost kind of funny because it's so dark.
Yeah, I mean it's skin-crawlingly good. Yeah, it's really uncomfortable, and I'm really just thrilled with this series, super impressed. Pick it up. I've got lots of them.
Also this week, on a completely different front, Marvel Superhero Adventures Spider Sense of Adventure #1. Every single issue of Marvel Superhero Adventures is in fact a #1 issue.
Get it together, Marvel.
Yeah.
This series, though, is so much fun.
Yeah.
It's basically a kids' anthology series. Each issue has stories, usually by a couple of different writers, a couple of different artists, plus the amazing Ty Templeton funnies we've shouted out before.
There's a fake hostess ad in this one that sort of has to be seen to be believed. Ty Templeton, we love you.
This issue is 2 stories on the themes of Spider-Man video game stories. Both of the stories are Spider-Man video game stories. If you, like me and him, have kids who spend a lot of time playing video games and have an affection for Spider-Man, they would probably love this issue.
And, Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, rescuing kids who are essentially trapped in Fortnite.
It's terrible. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then the second half also features my personal favorite Spider-Man villain, the Beetle.
The Beetle.
Who, this is Leo Williams writing. I'm not sure who else is on the book. I'm sorry.
Irene Strachowski is drawing it. Jim Campbell's doing colors, and the first story is written by Sean Ryan and drawn by Mario Del Panino.
Thank you. And the second one features the Beetle, who points out repeatedly that she has based her tech on the second strongest beetle in the world, because the first strongest beetle, everyone says, why not the first strongest beetle? The answer is because
We'll let people find out for themselves.
the second strongest beetle fights Spider-Man as she does. Yeah.
And one other thing that we want to shout out this week, The Dreaming.
If you've been following The Dreaming is one of the 4 Sandman Universe books that started some months ago. This is, I believe, the first one to get started on its second arc. So this is the second arc of The Dreaming, which has been focusing on what is going on in Morpheus's world, with Morpheus missing, and terrible things have been happening. and after the last climax, we have moved our story from taking place mostly in the dreaming to taking place mostly on Earth. We also, and what's particularly notable about this one, so it's new characters, new storyline, and a new artist who is
Abigail Larson.
super talented.
Really good.
This is beautiful.
One to watch.
Definitely, if you've been reading the first arc, keep it up. If you wanted to jump in, you'd be super confused, but you wouldn't be sad about it. This book is gorgeous.
It is a fine place to start this. A fun comic.
All right. See
We'll
you next
soon.
week.